Check. Good to go. Okay. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to OLC4O Term 1B. Today is December 13th, 2022. I'm your instructor, Mike Laverty, and this is class number 18. We are finishing up Unit 2, Lesson 6. We are on assignment number 28. So today we're going to be looking at one assignment, and that is assignment number 28. So we are in week 5 of classes in Term 1B. There are no classes from December 26th to January 5th. That'll be our 2-week holiday. January 26th, 2023 will be that is our last broadcast date. That's the last live class. So we are on week number 5, so we should be able to finish off Unit 2 either by tomorrow for sure. We'll have Unit 2 taken care of, and then starting next week, week number 6, we'll delve into Unit 3. So there are multiple ways you can log into the class live, or you can join us live by phoning into the studio, listening to the radio, watching or listening, more accurately, on Bell ExpressVu, channel 972, or logging in through Zoom. And if you can't make the classes live, you can always watch them on the YouTube channel. All the content is organized into playlists. And you need to, once you have your work completed, you have to submit it to your DEC, your Learning Center, emailing it, faxing it, scanning it, sending it to me. If you CC me, make sure to CC me at mlaverty@nnecschools.org. So that email address right there, that's the one you want to send to me. So send me an email. You can add me as a friend on Facebook, send me a message, or give me a call. Monday through Friday, Central Standard Time, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. All right, here's where you should be. So you should have read all pages of Unit 1, and you should have read pages 1 to 33 of Unit 2. So Unit 1 should be taken care of, and you should have read about most of Unit 2. And you should have completed assignments 1 through 21. So assignments 1 through 18, that covers Unit 1. So you should have those ones taken care of. And then you should have completed assignments 19 through 23 in Unit 2. And have a plan for completing assignment 24. So today's lesson, we will have our words of the day. We'll look at today's headline, and we will have a look at assignment number 28. Learning goal for today, we will explore the elements of advertising, including target audiences, hooks, and purpose. And we'll be successful today if we can use that understanding of advertising to complete assignment number 28. So we're going to explore advertising in detail, look at a few ways in which advertisers try to appeal to us, try to make us buy their products, and then we'll use that knowledge to complete assignment number 28. So up on the board, I've got four different advertisements. They are all related to smoking, or more specifically to vaping. So we've got these two here, which are they're advertisement, but they're more like PSAs, public service announcements. So that first one reads, "My kid would never vape. Get your head out of the clouds." So it's meant to symbolize a mother who's doesn't want to see the truth, doesn't want to acknowledge that her kids may be smoking, maybe vaping. Um, this is from the American Lung Association. This one's from the Canadian government. It says consider the consequences of vaping. So they're not really talking about the consequences, but they're just telling you to consider them. On the right here, we have why quit. Switch to blue. So a lot of vaping companies are selling this idea that an electronic cigarette or a vaping device is safer than smoking a cigarette, which is kind of may or may not be true, but that's the message they're selling. And then over here we have I don't always vape, but when I do, I choose Vapor Shark. Chris Kringle. So this advertisement got a lot of trouble for the advertisers because they're, excuse me, using Santa Claus to sell their vaping products. So today is, excuse my cold here. I'll try not to get too much of that on the mic. So today's course is all about advertising. So I just wanted to have have one look at one thing in our life, vaping, and you can either be for it, against it, try to raise awareness for it, try to make money off it. So a lot of different motivations. So our Anishinaabe word of the day is adawaje, which is a verb, which means she or he sells. And the English word is market, which means to advertise something to a target audience or for a recommended use, right? So, advertising is kind of like simply just creating advertisements, putting them in magazines, and then marketing is more like the idea behind it. Like marketing is like the whole campaign and the psychology of selling stuff and people trying to find the best way to selling something. So advertising to a target audience for a recommended use. So marketing is kind of like the thought that like goes into it, and then the advertising is like how it's actually done. This is advertising is the end product. It's what people actually see. And then the marketing is more like the ideas behind the ad. Because a lot of thought goes into ads, as we will see. They put a lot of thought into them, and we should put a lot of thought into receiving them, and not just take them on face value. So I love this ad. This is an old school cigarette ad. Viceroy's filter the smoke. So you got your trustworthy dentist saying, ask your dentist. I would recommend Viceroy's. So this is before the government kind of cracked down on cigarette manufacturers, and they could make all kinds of silly claims that weren't true, but they must have paid off a dentist or a dentist association to say that these cigarettes were better than others because they have a filter on them. We've got 2,679 physicians say Luckies are less irritating. It's toasted. Your throat protection against irritation, against cough. Okay, so at first, like cigarette companies were allowed to just market their products any way they wanted to, and then they started to do some research and they started to determine that cigarettes were actually pretty bad for people's health, and then the cigarette companies got really creative and they used doctors in their ads and they tried to fight that perception that their product was dangerous. And less irritating is not really the best kind of way to sell something, but it worked for them. Now there's much more kind of restrictions on how you can sell stuff like drugs and alcohol, cigarettes, especially in Canada. In America, it's a little bit more wide open, but just thought it's an interesting ad to put up there. And a couple more words in the language. So, ada watamaje is a verb which means she or he buys it for others. And ada weagan is a noun which is something for sale, merchandise, fur for trade. Probably one of the older meanings of the word, right? Looking at some English words, we have the word promote, which is to encourage the sales, acceptance, etc. of a product, especially through advertising or other publicity. Pro in Latin means forward. Mover, which means move. So to move something forward is to promote it. Sponsor is to act as sponsor for, promise, vouch, or answer for. When you vouch for somebody, you say good things about them. When you're applying for a job and you get someone to be your professional reference, they're going to vouch for you, they're going to sponsor you. To market, we already saw this word, so it's to advertise. Okay, it's the Latin spondere, which means to promise solemnly. So very serious, a very serious promise. And to market is to advertise something to a target audience for a recommended use. And that's from the Latin mercare, which means to buy. Related words like merchandise, right? Or a merchant, someone who sells something. Or a mercenary, which is a soldier who works for money or is paid to go to war. Here is today's headline. So this story is going back a few months, but it's still relevant today. So Elon Musk bought Twitter, and when that happened, there was a lot of chaos, as you see in the title, right? So Elon Musk seeks to reassure advertisers on Twitter after chaos. Elon Musk sought to reassure big companies that advertise on Twitter on Wednesday that his chaotic takeover of the social media platform won't harm their brands, acknowledging that some dumb things, quote, might happen on his way to creating what he says will be a better, safer user experience. So there's our headline. Nouns in blue, verbs in green, prepositions in red. So, of course, Elon Musk is a person in the world, maybe one of the most famous right now. So he's a proper noun. He's the subject of our sentence. And this is what he did. He seeks a verb to, and he wants to reassure. He wants to reassure his advertisers on Twitter after chaos. Okay, so chaos is a thing. It's an idea. Words like prepositions tell us where something is happening. In this case, it's on Twitter. They also tell us when. So after chaos. So the chaos happens before, and then Elon Musk is trying to reassure them after that chaos happens. So there is the breakdown of the article. This is our lead paragraph. So we have an independent clause. So remember, an independent clause is one that has a subject and a verb. So in this case, Elon Musk, that's my subject, and that's my verb. That's what he did. Sought to reassure big companies that advertise on Twitter on Wednesday that his chaotic his chaotic takeover of the social media platform won't harm their brand. So that could be a complete sentence. But the author has chosen to tack on a dependent clause. So this can't be a complete sentence. So independent clauses can stand alone. If I change this comma to a period, that's a complete sentence. But the author has chosen to use a comma and then add this dependent clause, acknowledging that some dumb things. So you see, this is an integrated quote. And when we integrate quotes, we put the we put the person's words inside our words. So acknowledging that some dumb things might happen on his way to creating what he says will be a better, safer user experience. You got two adjectives, better and safer, that modify the idea of user experience. You know, we could say Elon Musk also acknowledged that some dumb things might happen, right? So you could do that, but this way just kind of saves time, makes things a little bit more kind of streamlined. So here we got an example of some dashes. So the latest erratic move on the minds of major advertisers that the company depends on for revenue was Musk's decision to abolish a new official label on high-profile Twitter accounts. So this stuff right here, we could have written that in brackets. The author has chosen to do dashes. So it's simply a stylistic thing, but they do achieve the same thing. They add additional information about something. In this case, the advertisers. So we get more information about the advertisers inside the dashes. In the second example, Twitter began adding gray labels to prominent accounts Wednesday, including brands like Coca-Cola, Nike, and Apple. Sorry, not brackets. This time it's done with commas, including brands like Coca-Cola, Nike, and Apple. So again, you could have put the brackets there, but the author just chose to put it in brackets, right? So these are the accounts. So when you're writing information articles, news reports, you're often talking about your main ideas, and then you have additional information that you want to include about those ideas. And instead of writing a new sentence, you simply include that additional information by using dashes, brackets, and commas to put that additional information in there. So we got this very short sentence. A few hours later, comma, the labels started disappearing. So we could say the labels started disappearing. That is a complete sentence. It's got a subject, which is the labels, and it's got a verb, and that's disappearing. The labels started disappearing. That's a complete thought, okay? The phrase is simply a few hours later. That there's no verb here, right? So it's not a clause. So a few hours later, the labels started to disappear. So we could switch the order of this sentence by starting with the independent clause and say, the labels started disappearing a few hours later. So the author of this article has made a decision to flip those two and to start with a few hours later. So maybe, we read this first. And then you might want to ask yourself, well, why is that? Why would they make that decision? So maybe to emphasize just how rapidly things are changing, and just a few hours later, these labels start to disappear from the official label that says that a brand is an official brand. So, which is really important to an advertiser on Twitter. They want to have the official account. They don't want people creating fake ads and trying to pretend to be Nike. And if they feel that Elon Musk is not doing his job, they may pull their ads or not spend as much money as they normally would. All right. So now we're into our assignment. So assignment number 28 asks you to, we're looking at advertisers and their audiences. So this is worth 30 marks. It's divided into part A and part B. So we're talking about a target audience. So the target audience is the intended audience for an advertisement, a movie, a publication, a product, etc. These are the people most likely to buy, use, or enjoy whatever is being sold. Advertisers often include their target audience in their marketing campaign, right? So so these advertisers do market research, and they see, who has lots of spending money. They do research into who's likely to buy their products, and then they market it to them, right? So one good example of this is, if you go back 50, 60, 70 years ago, it was quite rare for people to market products directly to children, right? So you wouldn't you wouldn't see children in advertisements as much. But then, as kids started to watch Saturday morning cartoons and children began to spend more time in front of a television set, the advertisers would market to the kids in the hopes that the kid would see the ad, then go to mom and dad and say, look, I just saw this toy, you have to buy it for me. So they would market directly to the kids. Even though the kids don't have the money themselves, they have access and can influence their parents and convince their parents to buy it, right? So the psychology of advertising is they want us to see an advertisement, they want us to see ourselves in the ad, or they want us to imagine what it would be like for us to use that product. And the best way to do that is just simply to put that target audience in the ad. Okay, so part one. This is what you do. Okay, so, excuse me. Okay, so your responsibility is to find an advertisement, either online or in a physical magazine. So you can find these things online. That should be plural, because you're finding more than one. So you're finding these ads either online or in a physical magazine. And if it's in a physical magazine, then you'll be cutting them out, or simply, taking a picture of it. And they need to be attached with your submission, okay? So you find the advertisements. Then you have to identify which type of people are featured in the advertisement. Then you have to identify how they are being portrayed, and you can be as specific as possible. And when you're looking for these ads, you might want to go on Google. And you can even just do a search result for, like seniors advertising. And then you'll find a bunch of articles about advertising to seniors. If you switch to images, you will see, you will see advertisements about that. Actually, before we go ahead, we'll do a quick little search demo here. So just open up Google, and I'll share that with you. Okay, so I've got Google up right now. And so, for example, if I type in seniors advertising, and you see we've got a lot of like digital marketing like tools, like how to market to seniors. So these are like the search results. And so these are articles about senior advertising, how to market to seniors. But what I want to do is go to images at the top here. And then I have many examples of advertisements that are marketed towards seniors, right? So if I'm looking for ads that feature seniors, I've got a lot to choose from here. Some of them might be historical, some of them might be current. So there you go. Or I could say teenagers in advertising. Examples. I don't know. You could try different things. So there we go. So I've got Coca-Cola. I've got some more vape ads, right? So we've got some celebrities like Snoop Dogg kind of selling some alcohol. So there we go. So that's how you can find them. So like if you're looking for a targeted ad, or if you're trying to find a specific example, then I would suggest you go that route and just Google it specifically. And then step 3, you have to identify how they're being portrayed and be as specific as possible. So, and what I mean by they, how is the target audience being portrayed? So we're going to go through some examples together, okay? So growing up doesn't mean growing old. Your next adventure starts now. The Portage Senior Center is the perfect place to enrich your life, make new friends, and stay active. Okay, so I'm assuming this is like a facility where you could live. So the people in the ad are seniors or senior citizens. Now, how are they portrayed? Okay, so I'm going to say they look happy. Okay. They appear healthy. Especially this guy right here with his chiseled six-pack abs, right? Even though he's got the gray beard, right? So they're happy, they appear healthy, and they are doing things together, right? Because that's one of the fears about people getting older, and especially, if one spouse dies and the other one has to move into a home or something like that, or they have to sell the house and move into one of these senior centers, um, or just simply spend time at a senior center. It may just be like an activity center to go to. Um, they want to fight that isolation, so those are our people. That's how they're being portrayed. So over here, every woman is one part diva. So it's Godiva, Godiva. I'm not sure the pronunciation. That's the candy. So the people, we've got, let's just say, a beautiful, okay. Her portrayal is she's elegant, elegantly dressed. She is seductive. Okay, so just that's all you really have to do. Here we've got some teenagers. And the portrayal here is, having fun. I'd also notice that they are, they're people of color too. Um, so it's the YMCA, right? So we've got some hashtags here to try to appear a little more modern, a little more hip. So people, again, this is excuse me. I'm gonna say maybe a young adult, but young adult, slash adult. His portrayal is, of course, it's cool cigarettes, so it's cool. His portrayal is that, he's an interesting person. But he's very happy, right? So if you want to be cool like this guy, and live a good life, then, and you could even reference the be authentic, be true, right? Yeah, you might want to reference the portrayal. You know, uh, got those two words, so he's authentic. He's cool. He's the real deal, right? All right, we've got families here. We've also got families. We've got children. The little girl is the ketchup packet, which is pretty cute. And then everybody else is barbecue sauce, sriracha, tomatoes, ketchup, mustard. So the portrayal here is togetherness, again, having fun. How are they being portrayed? Oh, they've got the little dogs here, so you know, they're not taking themselves too seriously. This is a great advertisement. So we've got young people. I'll just say young children. And how are they being portrayed? Okay, they are angry. frustrated. So those are the people in the ad. I would say that the target audience for this one might be the parents, right? Because they're gonna find this situation funny, um, whereas the kids probably won't. So even though the kids are in the advertisement, it's probably more marketed towards the parents who are gonna buy the game, but it's still pretty funny. Okay, this is an example of a celebrity ad, right? And how is she being portrayed, right? So, she is, yeah, trying to find the words. Well, she's stylish. I'll use a word like this, coy. She's kind of having fun, but sort of like, um, pay attention to the eyes, the mouth, right? Like she's not really smiling. She's looking directly at you, but what is the message being sent here? How is she being portrayed? This is older, middle-aged person. And again, it's similar to the other ones. I mean, most people in advertisements are having fun. So if you can say that in a different way, she's relaxed, She's relaxed. She's not worried about getting older. Just living life. I COVID quit. So this is about a guy who quit smoking, and this is a young adult. So sure, he's happy, but I'd say he's confident. He's proud of his decision, right? That's what that says to me. Look at the facial expression on this guy right here, right? Look at the smile, the raised eyebrow. This ad doesn't feature any people, but I would argue it's advertising luxury and look at targeting rich people. Sort of like this one. This is targeting the rich. Her portrayal, and just simply describe what you see. So this rich person is wearing expensive clothing. They look, I don't know. That's what I see in that face, right? She pities others, you know. She knows she is better. Have a look at that face. Have a look at that body language, right? She looks pretty confident, like she's looking down on us. She knows better than us. This is an example of poverty or disadvantaged people. And how is she being portrayed in this advertisement? I would say that she's in a bad, not necessarily a bad situation, but well, Jill prepares beds for hundreds but can't afford one, so she is in a bad situation. But she looks hardworking. She's determined, right? But she looks tired, and she's not happy. Similar situation. This is disadvantaged people. And I mean, he looks confident, but he also looks a little bit sad. And maybe he's sort of expecting something. It's a pretty good ad, right? So a pint of beer is €4.50, and 50 liters of fresh water is $1.50, right? So it's trying to make people feel guilty about having that pint of beer instead of donating it to people in need. Okay, so that is the end of part A. So you have to get your ads. So it's worth 15 marks. So I'm expecting you to find at least 7 or 8 advertisements, and then you have to identify who's in the ad, who's being portrayed, and how are they being portrayed. So part B, you have to choose one of your ads from part A and choose, sorry, that should say at least 3 advertising hooks that apply to the advertisement. Create an advertisement awareness poster by labeling the hooks to specific aspects of your ad. So let's go through these hooks one by one, okay? So an emotional transfer is when you want to generate emotions in order to transfer them to a product, right? So if we see happy, smiling people, then the point of that is to make us associate those feelings with that brand or with that product, okay? So it's probably the number one and most important process of media manipulation. They want you to look at a product and to say, if I buy that thing, it's going to make me happy. It's going to make me feel good. Okay, sex sells without exception, so that just goes without saying. So the hook of sex sells is anytime the person in the ad looks sexually attractive. It's just meant to make you think that either you'll be sexually attractive if you buy that product, or it's very similar to the emotional transfer, right? It's just playing upon your feelings. Fear messages are so no one will like you if you have dandruff, or bald people are losers. They're never going to come out and say that, but it's going to be a hidden message, right? If you don't get this product, you're going to be a loser and no one's going to like you, right? So it's a common technique. So are they playing on your fears? Symbols, easily recognized elements from our culture that generate powerful emotions such as flags and crosses, okay? So are they using a symbol to sell a product? Humor, often used because it makes us feel good and is more memorable. So we remember stuff that's funny. Notice how the majority of commercials on TV are funny, okay? So that's true, right? So, and that's a good one, right? So we do remember things that are funny. Hype. So, hype is when the advertisement is making like really big claims about themselves that may or may not be true or may not be easily proven. So they do sound good, but they're often meaningless and vague, Fitting in. That's another we're talking about hooks. So the fitting in hook says, you want to fit in with the cool people. You want to fit in with most of society. So everybody's doing this, so you should too. But then, so alcohol ads often promote the idea that everybody drinks, but in reality, alcoholics are the main consumers of alcohol, and a lot of them drink alone. Cute. Children and animals always steal the show. Family and girl next door also fit this category. So cuteness. Um, Again, they're just playing upon your emotions. So little cute furry things that you want that you're instinctually meant to like protect and look after. Vague promises like might, maybe, and could are red herrings that divert our attention. So super glue may heal cuts better than band-aids. Sounds absurd, but you will often hear claims as preposterous as this one, and it would still be true because it can't be disproved, okay? So words like may, might, maybe, could, those are vague words because they're not specific. So watch out for those words. A testimonial is a statement by people explaining why certain products are great. Famous could be regular people, actors can do them. Excuse me. It's more powerful when someone we really like or respect endorses a product, such as Sidney Crosby or Tiger Woods, right? So a testimonial, it must come from someone real. And that's the power of a testimonial. It's not the advertiser, it's a real person who is paid by the advertiser to say something. Beautiful people are usually used to glamorize merchandise, especially unhealthy products like alcohol, tobacco, and junk food. So you've got a beautiful model, someone who just is great to look at, and then when they sell the product, your attention is on them, and then maybe less of your attention is on the negative aspect. Excuse me, the negative aspects of the product. On the beautiful person and not the negative aspects of the product. So famous people is similar to testimonials. They make the products appealing and attractive through association. On the flip side of that is ordinary people. They're people like you and me, and it's common in ads that stress community or family, like with Walmart. So they're trying to show the regular people. They're not appealing to rich or luxury. They're just appealing to the masses. It's easy. So again, this is an example of a hook. It's a simple solution, often used to convince us that a product will solve our problems, such as bald spot hairspray will get you a date. Doorknob disinfectant wipes keep us healthy. Larger ideological messages are common as well, such as cars enable us to conquer nature, right? So the product is solving a problem. That's the advertising hook there. So Macho, generally used to appeal to males, but not exclusively. So it could appeal to other people. So it demonstrates that masculinity and male stereotypes common in military and tobacco ads. Femininity is a hook. It's another gender stereotype. So just talking about what women should look like or do look like often in movies. So not what they actually are like, but how they're portrayed in common forms of media. Repetition is when the ad is done over and over and over again to get your attention, like a repeated phone number or a sales pitch or a slogan. A big lie is an exaggerated promise, such as this is Canada's best all-weather vehicle, similar to hype, so it's really big claims that are hard to prove. More subtle examples include eating corn pops will make you as strong as an Olympian, right? So sometimes they can get away with this, and sometimes the big lie and humor are sort of like mixed together, where they make a big statement, but it's meant as a joke. Exotic, this is the appeal of the other. It could be a beach location, a tribal person, something strange or unknown, often meant to hook you through presenting something that is out of the ordinary or beyond our everyday experience. So the exotic is sort of like the opposite, right? So there's the everyday people, and then the opposite would be exotic. So flattery is excuse me is used to make us feel good about ourselves. That when we choose this product, we're making the right choice. And smart people like us always buy premium aquariums when purchasing exotic fish. So it's flattering the buyer or the would-be buyer. Social outcasts represent a put down or a demeaning comment about a competing product or cultural group, not limited to ads, but is common in propaganda as well. So, trying to associating their product with someone you don't want to be like, right? So, you better buy this product because you don't want to be like those guys. Free lunch offers you something in addition to the product, such as buy one get one free or tax cuts. Um, so it's when they add on like an additional feature. The good old days. So these are meant to bring us back in time, and they depict a specific era or subculture meant to appeal directly to the demographic represented in the ad. So usually, obviously, an older audience, right? You're not happy with the way things are going, but we can try to bring you back there. Surrealism is this is just kind of being weird for the sake of being weird. It's sort of like a fantasy world of media. You'll see dreamlike imagery that makes no sense because the advertiser is trying to get your attention by presenting something strange and different. Okay, so just sort of like weird. Just weird for the sake of being weird. And culture is when a specific culture is being used. So it could be a culture, it could be a subculture, like like hippies or goths or like emo kids, or it could be like an ethnic culture, like Chinese or Japanese, right? For example, right? So those are the advertising hooks that we're talking about. So we don't have time for this today, but when we come back tomorrow, we'll have a look at these three ads, and we will create an advertising poster. All right, thanks for bearing with me, and I'll see you tomorrow.